Ho ho ho, Merry Whackmas! To get into the festive season, I have transformed into Whackmaclaws and have decided to do a series of VR game giveaways. Not only that, you get to choose which game you want. So, you must be thinking, how do I enter and win one of these games? Well, it's simple. I will be giving away one game per video per week, and up for grabs we have 10 great games. Now hold back your reindeer and don't get too excited. Try and avoid doing that. But to enter each of the giveaways, all you simply have to do is subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and press the bell icon. Give the video a thumbs up and finally just put in the comments which game you want and why that game. You should also really share the video with a friend to spread the joy and give them a chance of winning as well. You know it's the right thing to do. Or you can just be a Grinch and try and hog the chance for yourself.
I guess I could use a little social interaction.
I wish I had some friends to share with. Anyways, so when we hit 300 likes on that week's video, the competition for that video will be closed and the winner will be announced in my next video, as well as the games that are remaining. Remember, since this is just a teeny tiny channel, the chances for you winning are extremely high, so don't delay, claim today. Now you must be wondering, what are these great games I keep talking about, Whackmaclaws? Great question. Let's run through them one by one and in no particular order, just so you know which games you want to try and win. Number 1. Batman Arkham VR. Save Martha!
Why did you say that name?
Make your childhood dreams come true by becoming the Dark Knight. This is a fantastic game for someone that has recently got into VR. There is very little chance of motion sickness, but has the full quality of an amazing VR game. It is set in the same universe as the Arkham City games. You will get to be the world's greatest detective, solving crimes, throwing batarangs and catching the bad guys. All the whilst playing through an incredible and well-written story that will make your jaw drop. I can't give anything away since I don't want to spoil any part of the game for you, but seriously, the story itself is worth playing the game. I do want to give one small spoiler though. The voice acting of the Joker has been performed by Mark Hamill himself, and the voice acting for Batman is none other than Kevin Conroy. So you know this game screams quality. The fact that this game makes you feel like the Batman makes it a must-have for any fan. Number 2. Carnival Games VR. I know it's too cold to go outside, so guess what? You don't have to. Carnival Games VR is an awesome game to play with friends and family when the fights start on Christmas. This game is also fantastic for anyone new to VR, as it lets you experience a lot that VR has to offer. It has 12 carnival games which range from rock climbing, a haunted house shootout, ring toss, an intense and dangerous death course, test your aim with basketball or skeet shooting, and even more games. Not only that, you can compete with other people online by beating the scores on the leaderboard, giving you the challenge of being the very best, like no one ever was. So go for this game if you love the games at the carnivals and fairs, without it being rigged of course. Number 3. Fallout 4 VR. The full-fledged game Fallout 4 VR allows you to step into the post-apocalyptic city of Boston, something we never originally thought was possible. When you see the Deathclaw 2 inches from your face just before he slashes you down is frightening to say the least. The gunplay is fun and exciting, as well as firing giant explosives and watching them, well, explode. One of the main changes in the VR version to the regular Fallout 4 is that when you go into VATS, it doesn't freeze time, but instead it slows it down substantially, basically making you feel like you've invoked the Speed Force, for any of my DC geeks. So you know you can do a slow motion beatdown. You have your Pip-Boy on your wrist, and to access it you actually have to lift up your wrist as you would do in real life, which feels great. You can spend hours upon hours in Fallout 4 VR. If you have a decent spec PC, then try and go for Fallout 4 VR. I highly recommend it. Number 4. Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Scotty, beam me up.
Captain the USS Enterprise or any of the other multiple ships that are available, and boldly go where no man has gone before. Is the pressure of being captain too much for you? Then you don't have to be. You can pick any of the 4 roles you want on the bridge crew. The first one is the helm. where you have to fly the ships maneuvering around the floating debris, and when in combat you need to make sure you are facing the right way, or else you'll have to attack with your butt. When you decide it's not a fight you can win, you need to be able to escape. You also need to communicate with the engineer, who will be responsible to give you the power when it's required. Moving on to the engineer, their roles include giving power to the weapons, the shields, the warp drives, and fixing anything that gets broken because of the helm's shoddy driving. Now, moving on to one of the most fun roles, the tactical, who will be responsible for the weapons, like firing torpedoes and hacking enemy ships and combat in general. You have to rely on the full team to be able to play the game effectively, as none of this can happen unless the captain gives the orders, which is awesome. This is one of the best games to play with people, and now you can play with people on the PlayStation and with other headsets. Not only that, you can also play with people who are not even in VR. So there's always someone online. Even if they're not, there's also a single player campaign, which is fantastic. The graphics are incredible in the ship and you will really feel like you're actually there. So I highly recommend Star Trek Bridge Crew VR. Number 5. Raw Data. One of the best wave shooters you can get even now. But it's much more than that. You are a resistance fighter trying to unearth the evil corporation's dirty little secrets. The story is quite decent though. Nothing spectacular, but enough to keep you intrigued and moving you forward. You can choose up to 4 different characters to play with, and each of them are considerably different from the other, as they have different weapons and different abilities, so you would have a completely different experience when playing as each of them. You have Green Arrow using a bow and arrow to take down the enemies, Kenshi to take them down with your trusty blade. By the way, if you haven't guessed, I'm making up these names. But anyway, another character is with a shotgun, and the final one with 2 pistols. There are 10 different missions with 4 difficulty levels. However, this game is not easy at all, which I actually prefer. It makes it fun and challenging to play. There are cool boss battles with giant robots. Not only that, after a couple levels the game also becomes a tower defense, where you are able to set up turrets to help you take down the enemies. All in all, the game is actually a lot of fun to play. The visuals are beautiful, the gameplay is fun, exciting and challenging with a good story and varied combat. So why not give Raw Data a try and go for this one. Number 6. Doom VFR, Virtual Friendly Reality. This is a Doom game that has been built from the ground up for VR. This has to be epic. The game is intense and completely action-packed, with enemies coming at you left, right and center. Graphically, the game is gruesome and gorgeous. You will feel like a badass with the gunplay, shooting massive guns in the enemy's face, firing grenades, and with the slow time effect, everything looks so epic. Don't get me wrong, the enemies are badasses themselves and can't just be pushed over. They will give as much as they get. Once you stun the enemy, you can teleport right inside them and make them explode. The only issue with the game is the story. Just forget about the story when you're playing the game. It's just there to set up the gameplay, but to be honest, that's all you need. The game itself is so much fun to play, even if you aren't a fan of Doom. So, if you love action-packed games with loads of gore, then you'll love Doom VFR. Number 7. Superhot VR. That was my best impression, even though it sounded a little bit like Wally. This is the original Matrix game. Superhot basically gives you super speed, like you're the Flash or Superman. However, it may not seem it from the outset, but it's basically a puzzle game, where you have to get past the levels by using everything around you as a weapon. If you run out of things to throw or shoot, then you do have your trusty fists of steel. Now the visuals of the game are quite unique, and you will just be fighting polygon characters. However, don't let this put you off, because it's the gameplay that's actually the star. The gameplay is so awesome that you will literally move your body to get out of the way from incoming fire, or use your weapons to deflect the bullets. However, when you move, so does everything else. So the challenge is in making sure when you decide to move, you make it count. This seems easier than it actually is. The more you play it, the more fun you will start having. This is a great game for those that get motion sickness, as you have to move if you want your character to move, so there's little chance of motion sickness. Overall, the game is really a lot of fun and safe for new VR players to get into. If you can look past the visuals, then give this game a go and try and dodge this. Number 8. Creed Rise to Glory. Did you ever want to feel like Rocky, getting continuously pounded in the face but still be able to win? Well, here's your chance to do so. Creed Rise to Glory puts you in the footsteps of Adonis Creed. Whilst we go through his flashbacks, of Adonis, a professionally trained boxer, beating the crap out of some poor bouncer who is just trying to do his job. You go through some of the fights from the Creed movies to give you that nostalgia feeling. You have to train by playing some mini games to make sure you are 100% for your next fight. Again, I wouldn't play this for the story, but more for the action. The gameplay is where the game actually shines. You have to throw real punches to be able to knock out your opponent. But you can't just spam, as you do have a stamina meter. I know it's odd that you need a stamina meter when you run out of stamina faster in real life. I know I do. So spamming punches just won't work. You have to time your shots and counter effectively. When you get knocked out, you become an astral projection and are pushed outside your body. Doctor Strange, anyone? And just to make sure you get tired in real life faster, you literally have to wave your hands back and forth to get back in your body. Or game over. There is also free play, which lets you choose which character you want to play as and against whom. So you can relive those epic battles between Rocky and Drago, Clubber Lang, or even Apollo Creed. There is also multiplayer, meaning you can fight people online. This is a little bit more difficult than playing against the computer, as some people on the internet are just brutal and somehow have superhuman stamina. Overall though, it's a fantastic game that you will thoroughly enjoy. Number 9. Arizona Sunshine. Do you like The Walking Dead or killing zombies in general? Well, if so, you will love this game because you will be doing that a lot. Arizona Sunshine has been named one of the best VR zombie shooters ever. It has a story that lasts around 4 hours with some cheesy dialogue and humor, kinda similar to mine. To give you a better background though, there has been a zombie apocalypse and you are one of the only survivors left. I'm not going to spoil the story for you, so that's enough of that. What you will see, however, is random zombies everywhere. Some wearing bikinis with a biker helmet, because that makes sense. You'll spend most of your time looking for ammo and weapons and then using them on the hordes of zombies that will keep coming across to you. To be honest, this is a lot more fun than you think it would be. For me, this was more of a casual game and less intensive, especially where I was just popping the zombies' heads off with a headshot after headshot, because I'm just that damn good. But if you want more of a challenge, then turn up the difficulty, where it will make you panic a little more and the zombies will hit a little harder. That being said, there are some bugs in the game. However, because of how much fun the game actually is, I think you will still love it. Try and go for Arizona Sunshine if you can. Guess what? It's the final countdown. That's right, number 10. Skyrim VR. Become the Dovahkiin in Skyrim VR. This is the full game including all of the DLCs. I do have to warn you on one thing with this game though, which is once you start playing Skyrim VR, you probably won't be able to play any other VR games for a while. Why? Well, it will cover mostly everything that you will want to experience in VR. This is exactly what happened to me. For example, you can use your hands to shoot lightning or fire. You could roleplay as an X-Men character or a Sith Lord. Trust me, I've done this. You wield swords and shields in your hands. When you need to block, you actually have to lift up your hand to be able to block when you see an incoming attack. You can experience realistic bow and arrow firing. Become Legolas in VR. When you see a dragon for the first time, you will be at awe and will just want to stare at its majesty. Since this is Skyrim, you can also use mods. With mods, you can make an awesome game, legend, wait for it, dairy. What do I mean by that? Have you ever wanted to use shouts with your own voice? Well, now you can. With particular mods, you can use the famous words of the Dragonborn, Fusroda, and see the enemies fly off the cliff. There are also mods that give you extra spells or weapons, even the Kamehameha, and much, much more. Even if you have spent multiple hours in Skyrim previously, considering a million versions of the same game came out, you will still find new and exciting things in VR. It's just a completely different and must-have experience. And think about it, is there another game where you also get to be a werewolf or a vampire lord in VR? Well, that's all Whack-My-Claws has for you this time. Remember, to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, share if you can, and leave a comment telling me which game you want and why. Ho, 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 Merry Whackmas!